Hello, YouTube land, or just internet land. This is going to be really short because I'm just killing a little bit of time before I go to bed. Probably about 20 minutes or so. So I have a fun page 47, but I haven't cracked open this book in a long time. I'm super excited. This one is called Without Conscience by Robert D. Hare, Ph.D., The Disturbing World of Psychopaths Among Us. So there are a lot of different books and YouTube channels and all kinds of stuff like that out there now about psychopathy, sociopathy, narcissism, all of that stuff. But this one was one of the earlier ones. It was written by the fellow who came up with something called the psychopathy checklist, which was one of the earlier measures of psychopathy in people. Now, it is based on like a questionnaire, so it's not, there's always a chance people could not be entirely forthright or honest on a questionnaire. But a lot of these questionnaires are designed to have what's called, I forget the name of them, but they're basically questions that are written specifically to test for, like to check to see if people are trying to make themselves look better or look worse in a certain way. And if a lot of those questions get flagged a certain way, it lets the researcher know we should probably leave those results out, since it looks like that person was probably trying to what they call fake good or fake bad. That's a thing too. It's kind of funny. You would expect people to like fake looking better than they are, but not necessarily the other way around. But people do for all kinds of reasons. So before I go to the page 47 though, what is psychopathy? What is a psychopath? Well, it's not an official diagnosis, by the way. It's not in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. That doesn't mean it's not real, but it's not an official diagnosis. It's not something you're going to see on a medical record necessarily. On a medical record, something kind of related to it you might see is antisocial personality disorder in adults or conduct disorder in children. So antisocial personality disorder, like I don't have my DSM at the ready, it's in the other room, but basically it means that people lack remorse and get in a lot of trouble. Make a long story short, lots of law breaking, lots of flouting of social norms and things like that. Well, the concept of psychopathy is this idea that maybe people are out there who simply cannot feel empathy. Like empathy being the ability to like think about how someone else feels about something, take their perspective, understand, and feel bad for hurting someone or feel bad for using someone. So the concept of psychopathy is that there are people that just can't feel that. And so the theory is that that feeling, that empathy you have that makes you feel bad for hurting another person is one of the things that keeps us from taking advantage of other people and running roughshod over them and hurting people. It's basically the theory is that that empathy is what keeps us kind of nice to one another. And the idea is that psychopaths lack the capacity for empathy. So this book is about the idea of psychopathy. So let's go to page 47. Oh, there's a quote in here that I like, but it's not page 47, so I'll come back to it. I think I first read this book when I was in undergrad because we had a course in undergrad called The Psychology of the Offender. The whole course was on psychological variables involved in offending, which is just a fancy term for breaking the law. Gosh, I haven't thought about that course in years, but yeah, this is when we first started talking about this. Ooh, So this page 47 includes like a vignette from an interview with someone who was identified as having traits of psychopathy. And it also includes like a little description of it down below. I think I'm going to do both though, because I like the idea of the interview. Oh, this is intense. Okay, here we go. I'm a very feeling person. You can't help but fall in love with these kids, says Janine Jones, convicted of murdering 2 infants and suspected of killing more than a dozen others. That's terrible. No one's ever going to see this. A San Antonio practical nurse, she administered life-threatening drugs to neonates in an intensive care unit in order to put herself into the role of hero by bringing them back from the brink of death. Her bewitching presence, air of supreme confidence, and convincing demeanor, along with a shocking medical cover-up, allowed her to ply her trade in spite of widespread suspicions about her role in many infant deaths and near-fatal emergencies. In conversation with author Peter Elkind, Jones complained that she was being made a scapegoat because I was so abrasive. My mouth got me into this, Janine said with a grin. And my mouth's going to get me out of it. Wow, that's chilling. Like all psychopaths, she showed a remarkable ability to manipulate the truth to suit her own purposes. By the end of our conversation, wrote Elkind, Janine had completed an account of her life that was astonishingly different from what I had gathered from dozens of those who had known her. It clashed with reality not merely on the basis of her guilt, but on 1,000 details, small and unimportant, except as they loomed in Janine's image of herself. Janine was contradicting not only during recollections of others and a voluminous written record, but facts she had told me herself 4 years earlier. For her, the lines between truth and fiction, between good and evil, between right and wrong, did not matter. Psychopaths seem proud of their ability to lie. When asked if she lied easily, one woman with a high score on the psychopathy checklist laughed and replied, I'm the best. I'm really good at it. I think because I sometimes admit to something bad about myself. They'd think, well, if she's admitting to that, she must be telling the truth about the rest. She also said that she sometimes salts the mind with a nugget of truth. If they think some of what you say is true, they usually think it's all true. Well, that's page 47 of Without Conscience by Robert D. Hare. Hi, Janet. How are you? Good to see you. I'm going to type in the chat because that's what I do. It's good to see you. I'm pretty good. I just thought I'd hop on for about 20 minutes and do a little page 47. And if anyone wanted to come hang out, they could. And if not, then I would just read about psychopathy for 20 minutes. But I'm glad to see you. All the insomniacs are still hanging out. So this one, I don't know if you heard, this one is about psychopaths and psychopathy. You know, the idea that people don't have any empathy. You know, there was a period of time where, like in school, where I was like diagnosing myself with everything that we read about. Hey, Seventh, how are you? It's good to see you. I'm going to type to you too, because I can do that. Not that I couldn't before. I'm just used to typing to people because I forget that you can't hear, but I forget that you can hear and see me. You were lurking? Oh, I love lurking. Lurking is happy, but I love more to say hello. But whatever you feel like doing is fine. Because I know some people like to just kind of listen while they're trying to fall asleep or doing chores or whatever. So that's fine too. But I'm glad to see you. So, yeah, there was a time in school when I was diagnosing myself with everything we learned about, because that's what a lot of people do, just naturally. Like you read about this disorder and go, oh, well, I'm kind of like that. I kind of do that sometimes. And I think there were 5 minutes when we first started reading about psychopathy that I was like, oh, maybe I'm a psychopath. But then as soon as I read some of these interviews, I was like, no, that's not my problem. That's not my problem at all. Like, that interview with that person starts out with her talking about, like, unaliving tiny humans, and that's one of the most horrific things I can think about, and in that interview, she's just so glib about it, I feel bad about, being mean to a kid standing in line behind me in 5th grade, so I don't think I qualify as not having empathy. 7th, you typed your greeting, you just didn't hit the little paper airplane send a button. Gotcha. Oh, I saw Janet, you asked a question earlier I missed. So is the page 47 where you take a random book and reach page 47? Yes. Yes, that is what I do. Um, a lot of I have my bookshelf over there, in the other room across the hallway. And yeah, I've just been I haven't looked at this one in a while. I'll grab this one and look at page 47. And some of the books I remember better than others. This one I remember better than others because it made an impression. And I did read the entire thing. I do have some books that I still haven't read because I'm a book hoarder, and that's a classic book hoarder thing, right? You collect a lot of books and you have a lot that you've read you haven't read. So Janet says, when my husband was in med school, he used to come home thinking he had the disease of the day. Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens to people in psychology grad school as well. I think and it's actually still hard not to try to do that, especially if you have that way of thinking about things, you're basically trained to diagnose. So it's hard not to see things through that lens. Um and get that's why doctors are supposed to have other doctors and therapists are supposed to have other therapists. That's why you're not supposed to try to treat yourself. You can't be objective about yourself either, right? Like, what I feel happening inwardly in my brain could be totally different than what people perceive of me, what people see of me out in the world. Janet, I want to read Oliver Sacks' The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. Yes, I have that book. I have it. Actually, I do. It's in the other room. It's in my bedroom. I haven't read it yet, though. Wonder what happens on page 47 in that book. I'll do that one next. Janet G. I haven't read the whole one yet, but I have a copy of it. That's funny you brought that one up. That's really cool. Oliver Sacks has some interesting research. He wrote another book called, I think it's Musicophilia, and it's about how music affects the brain. I haven't read that one yet either, but I know about it. Oh, you're going to order it? You want to do page 47 with me? Oh, we can read together. That would be cool. I like that. I would like that very much. Um, I love being able to chat about books with people. You don't have to, don't feel pressured or anything, but it's fun. I don't know. I've always liked books, even since I was a little kid. Before I was trying to get into school or get good grades or anything like that, I would I remember some of the earlier chapter books I would read would be the Babysitter's Club and stuff like that. Um, and we had this table, it was one of those tables that goes behind a couch, so it was kind of long and skinny sort of, but it was backed up against a wall. So there was the wall and then the couch, and then the underside was open. So it made kind of a little tunnel, a little place to crawl into. And I would crawl into that, behind between the couch and the wall with a blanket and a book. And I would just hole up there for hours. And my mom would have to come find me. That would happen a lot. I would play by myself up in my room or read somewhere in a little hidey hole somewhere. And my parents would have to go, Kristen, where are you? We were just checking on you. You were awfully quiet. Because I had two really boisterous, loud brothers. So they didn't trust it when things got quiet. As a parent, you're like, it's quiet. What's happening? What's being broken? What's being destroyed? So, thanks, Janet. That's really sweet. That's really sweet. I was actually painfully shy until 4th grade, maybe? Really 6th grade. Like, I would not speak in class to save my life. And when we had to, they don't do this as much anymore, I don't think, but when we had to read aloud in class, like I could do it just fine, but I would have this like really, really quiet, like little mumbling voice. Like it would be like it would be like that because I was so like timid about doing that. Um, but my 4th grade teacher, Mr. DuPont, made a big thing about being really, really encouraging. And it wasn't in like a mean way. He was just like, "Oh, you're such a good reader. We want to hear your voice, Kristen. Speak up." Um, Janet says, "Aw, you think there is a lot going between my ears? Aw, thanks." I mean, I didn't know if it was any different than what anyone else had going on between their ears, but I mean, I did have an active imagination as a kid. Um, I had like one really close friend in elementary school, and we would come up with these really elaborate pretend games with like a plot and like characters and like conflict and things like that. And we would like continue like a game and then like stop it. And then like when we got to hang out again next, we'd like continue it where we left off. So yeah. Which is kind of like writing, I guess. Janet, you were bored as a kid in school. Used to stare at the window all the time, understimulated and checked out. Yeah. If it's not challenging enough for you, that'll do it. You know what's sad? I just realized that a lot of schools, like at least around here, the windows don't open anymore. It's like a security thing because of all the school pew pew stuff, which is really, really sad. But I still remember being a little kid in elementary school, and if you're staring out the window, if it was like in the spring, there was a good chance it was like cracked open to let the fresh air in. In elementary school in 1960, it was just a talking head at the front of the room. That makes me think of Charlie Brown, Janet. Was it like that? That wah, 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 wah. Is it like that? I think that's yeah. I think that's the way that my parents describe their schooling experience too. Um, my dad went to Catholic schools for part of the time and schools on Air Force bases for the other part of the time. Um, so nobody was taking any guff from anybody at any schools he went to. Oh, in the late 60s. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had some really good teachers and I had some not so great teachers and everything in between. But I always remember Mr. DuPont because he encouraged me to speak up when I was reading. And it had never occurred to me that I could even do that, or that anyone would want to hear anything I had to say. And he actually moved up to teaching 6th grade at the same time we were in, like, my class went into 6th grade. So he was my teacher again. And that was when he really encouraged me to write more. Um, like he was just very encouraging. Like that's how he motivated was by like seeing something you did well and like really like bringing it up in you. Where is he now? I don't know. I've actually tried to find him on Facebook because like he's a teacher that had a big impression on me that I would like to say thank you to. Um, because he was first of all like he was unusual. I think he was the sole male teacher in my elementary school. Um, and, and that's and he was really encouraging. Yeah, I would love to tell him how inspiring he was because he made a big impact on my life for sure. I haven't been able to find him. My mom, I think, kept up with him for a little bit. Um, when he retired from teaching, he went into like, I think, I think selling antiques or estate sales or something like that. But we lost track of him. And we lost track of him before I, thought to say or do things like that. But that makes me think it would be nice to try to find other teachers who had a good impact on me and say stuff like that, and just let them know how, you know, how much I appreciated it. You had some teachers like that too, Janet? Yeah. That's the thing is like, you always remember your really, really good teachers and your really, really bad teachers. Like, those are the ones you remember. I remember the elementary school ones pretty well because you're with one teacher for the most part all day. At least that's how it was at my school. But once I got into middle school, it's harder to remember all the specifics. Sandy, how fortuitous, page 47. Yay! This one I read tonight was Without Conscience by Robert Hare, The Disturbing World of Psychopath Silliness. Good to see you, Sandy. And there was an interview with a lady who had no empathy at all and did horrible things to tiny humans. And it was really sad, but it makes me realize I'm probably not a psychopath. As much as we like to diagnose ourselves with everything, that's probably not my problem. So, well, I was just gonna, oh, hi, Mary. It's so good to see you. I'm so happy. I'm probably gonna wrap it up here pretty soon because I don't want to go over Chow Yun Smut's time. I think I've been on for about 20 minutes, so I figured I'd just come chill, do a page 47, and then transition to the next thing. But I've gotten to where I like saying hi. Yeah, I would love to meet over at Chow's. You love the book, The Psychopath Test? Oh, I didn't get my notification. My YouTube notifications have been messing up lately. I'll get a notification for a live 3 hours after it happened. It's really annoying. So you just have to follow it, I guess. I just had to say hi real quick before I headed over to Cricket. Yeah. Well, hi. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Mary. I'm going to head over there too. But I'll probably do this again real soon because I'm starting to have fun. So shoot you a message. I'm sorry, Mary. You told me to do that and I forgot. I kind of was just I don't plan very good all the time. I'll try to get better at that. You didn't get a notification either. Yeah. My notifications on YouTube have been wacky lately. I'll get them, but they'll be after the fact. So it's not before they're going live. Well, I'm going to hop off and I'll see you guys over there who like to go over there. Thank y'all for coming to hang out with me for a little bit. I really appreciate it. It's good to see you guys. Mary, Sandy, Janet, Mary 7th. It's good to see all of you guys and any lurkers. Y'all have a great night. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye.